What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the NerdBall Fantasy Football Show. I am your humble host, dendrologist specializing in the conservation of the endangered Robert Woods, an astronaut aboard the Pitts 8 Moon Expedition, Pete Rodgers, and I am joined by my fellow nerd, the lead saxophonist for the De'Ami Brown and the Downtown Funky Crown Band, and relisher in the slow demise of Ben Roethlisberger, the working girl, Jordan Smith. Jordan, how you doing today?
Doing well. We got another bye-week bonanza ahead of us, but hopefully people can scrape together some points, and that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help those who find themselves in a bye-week bind to make the right decisions to build the best fantasy lineup possible. I have some questions that I will be passing off on to Jordan to make decisions for my fantasy roster so that when I ultimately fail, I have someone to blame other than myself. Before we get into football, though, Jordan, I have been waiting all week to ask you this, but I can only assume that you've seen the latest trailers for the Matt Reeves Batman movie. And
yes, I have.
How parallelly excited are you for it? Because I have shown it to my wife, Becca, upwards of 15 times and cannot effing wait for this movie.
I'm excited because they they have a great cast, first of all, and a really good director who can do this sort of thing really well, like the tone and the style of the movie that they're going for. It looks like they're going for a little bit more of a detective Batman, where they call him the world's greatest detective. And I think that's a little bit more what they're leading into in this one. And also, it's going to be on March 4th, which is right around my birthday. And I love going to a brand new, preferably movie I'm interested in, like action, superhero, big blockbuster type movie that's right around my birthday. And I love doing that. So thank you, Matt Reeves.
Thank you, Matt Reeves. Yeah, the fact that like the early showings or the early test audiences of this movie has it's 3 hours long. It's a noir film, and the Riddler is basically Jigsaw. And I was like, I'm in, so in. I can't get enough of the fact that this is this dark, darker than we've ever seen Batman, and just this. It looks visually stunning, and like you said, it's an amazing cast. I just cannot freaking wait for this movie. My God, it's gonna be so good. Anyways, I needed someone to bask in the excitement for this movie as much as I am. So we're dedicating the beginning of the show to just that.
The only thing that would make this movie better is if Jesse Plemons had a role. That's all I'll say about it. He could play any character. He could do Riddler. He would be a good Penguin. Put him in there, plug him in as Joker, Two-Face. He'd be a really good Harvey Dent. He could be Batman. I don't care.
He would be a good Two-Face. I like that for him. That feels like a role that he could do. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk football. As always, we got starts and sits from every game on the week 7 slate. We are also going to do our picks each week. Last week, I was victorious yet again, just by one game though. I went 9-5. Jordan went 8-6 on our week picks. First week with buys and our worst performance, which doesn't bode well for this week, given that there are so many buys, but still winning records. I'm 59-36. Jordan is 61-33 on the year. So still above 500 and still looking pretty damn good, if you ask me. Let's get into week 7 starts and sits, starting with Thursday night football. The Denver Broncos head to Cleveland to play a extremely banged up Cleveland Browns team. This team is there's not a healthy body left on this team. What's your play for this game, Jordan?
Yeah, for 2 or 3 days, this looked like a really fun game that was about to happen on Thursday Night Football. But now we realize that half of Cleveland is going to be missing this one. They're lucky they're at home, just in general. So my start for this week is going to be, and you'll like this one, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yes,
I think he is going to provide some pretty good flex value. He proved that last week, even with Baker as bum shoulder. Right now, he's number one in defense adjusted yards above replacement among wide receivers that have between 5 to 23 receptions. And he's also number 5 in DVOA among those same types of wide receivers. So he's not up there with the rest of the guys, but if he continues to get more catches and targets, hopefully that translates into his efficiency numbers also going with him. So he could very well shoot up the chart, the DVOA and DYAR charts. He has 5 and 6 targets in the last 2 games. Cleveland may be missing Odell Beckham. He's questionable right now, and they will be missing Kareem Hunt, who is another guy that absorbs passes, and Nick Chubb hasn't been playing. Case Keenum is going to get the start over Baker, which kind of sucks, but I imagine that this is a case where Case Keenum was probably getting a lot of second team reps. And that means that Donovan Peoples-Jones was getting a lot of second team reps with him. So I think that hopefully there is some sort of connection there between the two. Additionally, thanks to all those injuries, I would kind of fade to Ernest Johnson a little bit, especially if the report of these guys that are questionable, Jedrick Wills, Jack Conklin, and JC Treader, if they end up going from questionable to out, then that might handicap not just the Browns running game, but the Browns offense as a whole. And don't forget, I didn't forget quotes this week. And with the return of one of my favorite shows of all time already on its 3rd season, HBO's Succession, I had to go with Succession quotes. So this quote is from the Minnesota GOAT himself, Tom Lambsgans. You can't make a Tomlet without breaking a few Gregs. So in this case, you kind of just got to risk it for the biscuit with Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's not the most polished wide receiver that you could possibly play, but if you slot him in at the flex position, he might surprise you.
And we do know Case Keenum, when he's on the field, he does like to, he has a bombs away approach to his game. And so filling in for Baker, we could see a couple of deep shots to Donovan Peoples-Jones. And with Odell injured, with all these injuries that the Browns have on offense, there's really no one else to throw the ball to other than Donovan Peoples-Jones. So I love that call. And I also like the call of fading D'Ernest Johnson, just because, what are defenses going to do if not key in on the run and force the Browns to pass the ball in them? And that's what the Broncos are certainly going to do. I do also like Tim Patrick in this game. He was my streamer of the week in my wide receiver rankings. He's been averaging 10.8 half-point PPR points per game and is ranked 8th in our NEC consistency ratings, meaning that he is wildly consistent and efficient with his touches and from a fantasy standpoint, and going up against the Browns defense that allowing the 7th most fantasy points and most touchdowns to wide receivers over the last 4 weeks. Tim Patrick is a guy, if you are amidst the buy Mageddon, then and you need wide receiver help, 45% roster on Sleeper, snag him up and start him with confidence. I like it. I love it. I'm really hoping DPJ goes off today or this week, because my dynasty team needs it. All right, let's move into Sunday's action, and we can start. Picks. I always wanted to avoid picks, Jordan. You keep me on track, and for that, I appreciate you. Teddy Bridgewater is also banged up and might not play this game. So it might be Drew Lock versus Case Keenum, which is like, who wants to lose this game more? God damn it. I really have no idea what the Browns offense is going to look like. And their defense hasn't been playing great recently. I'll let you go first.
Well, Teddy Bridgewater being questionable to play is tough, because I'm not a big fan of Drew Lock. I'm just going to say screw it and pick Case Keenum in a revenge game. Why not?
Hey, gotta find that revenge narrative. I am going to, you go Cleveland, I'll go Denver. That way at least we're covered. I think if Teddy Bridgewater is playing, Denver wins this game. But if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't, then I'm going to look like a fool. All right, Sunday football. Cincinnati Bengals heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. And I am very nervous about these Bengals pass catchers, starting them in fantasy. The Ravens defense looked terrible against the Colts. Obviously, Carson Wentz threw for 400 yards against them, but then absolutely shut down the Chargers offense last week and held, Herbert and Allen and Williams all to like season lows. And even against the Colts, it was just Michael Pittman who was able to do damage against them. It wasn't the entire Colts passing tree. And a lot of Carson Wentz's yards came from Jonathan Taylor, who took a 75-yard screen to the house. So last week, shutting down the Chargers, they were the number one ranked defense per our NEF ratings, and they've allowed the sixth fewest points to wide receivers this year. I'm not super worried about Jamar Chase. Like I said, for the net consistency rating, he leads all wide receivers in that. So he continuously puts up elite wide receiver numbers. But this could be his lowest output of the year. Really, what this boils down to is I am fading Tee Higgins and Tyler Boyd heavily this week and in this game. I don't have a lot of faith that these guys are going to, as number 2 and 3 options in Cincinnati, I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to put together, even flex worthy starts against a Baltimore secondary that looked good last week and a Baltimore defense that kind of changed their whole MO against the Chargers. And we're getting a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert. And that's not a great sign for Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense.
Yeah, I think that the Ravens haven't played that well this year on defense. Has kind of been historically what they've been a little bit more known for over the past couple of decades. But Lamar and them boys have definitely turned a quarter, and I think that helped the defense play a little bit better too. And they're going to get healthier. So I would be worried about younger wide receivers going into this division matchup against the Ravens. Could be a tough one for them.
No, I am going to confidently. I went against the Ravens last week. I should have known better. I should have known the Chargers always have one good poop in the bed in them, and they let it out last week. But I will confidently go with the Ravens winning this game over the Bengals. Oh, Jordan wants to get spicy with it.
It kind of blows my mind that the Bengals are 4-2. You wouldn't know it unless you are actually looking at NFL standings.
I literally didn't know it until you told me it.
Yeah. And a couple field goal incidences and they could be 6-0 or 5-1.
That's wild.
I'm still going to go with the Ravens because I think the Ravens are hot right now. I think they've got momentum.
Yeah, they are. The Bengals also, we got to give some credit to them having a pretty good defense. They're eighth. Their defense is ranked 8th in NEF rating this year. So it's a legit defense. And it's we know this offense can put up numbers. So they're not a fluky 4-2, I would say, despite the fact that they won a couple games on last second field goals. But all right. So I was waiting to make my amazing point about their defense and missed. Are you picking the Ravens?
Yeah, I'm still gonna take the Ravens.
Cool. All right, so we are Ravens there. Consensus. Let's move on to Washington football team heading to Green Bay to take on Jordan's Packers. What you got?
So right now I'm fading Antonio Gibson. I think he's been largely touchdown dependent since he has scored 17, 15, and 21 points in 3 different games this season when he does score a touchdown. But when he doesn't, he's got 10, 9, and 4, which is not really something that you want out of a running back who is supposed to be this dual threat guy in PPR leagues that you can just expect to compensate for not finding the end zone. Now, he is questionable and he didn't play in practice because of a stress fracture, but I think if he's okay to go, he's still going to try. Last week, his snap percentage was only 39%, but it only has been on the season hovering around 55%, which is not ideal for, I'm sure a lot of people drafted Antonio Gibson as their number 1 back or got him in the second round, something like that. 55% of the snaps is just not ideal for somebody who's not producing when he doesn't score a touchdown. He's currently ranked 37th by DVOA as a running back. And Washington as a team is ranked 25th in rush DVOA on offense. So it's just not a very, a lot of people just missed on Washington going into the season. I don't think they're a very formidable team right now. They're having a hard time coming together. They could be getting Tagovailoa. I don't know.
But Terry McLaurin dynasty shares are begging the football gods to have Tua land in Washington.
We need to, at some point, have a longer conversation, I think, at the end of the season to talk about like the Tuas and the Jalen Hurtses and how everybody's writing them off. But I'm like, what about giving them 20 games? Like, they have like 10 starts and 14 starts respectively. Like, they barely have touched the football. Anyway, another quote from Tom Lamsgans here. And this is a sad one about Antonio Gibson. I just wonder if the sad I'd be without you is less than the sad I get from being with you. And that quote is because I wonder if I would be less sad if I didn't have Antonio Gibson on any teams than I am with him on any teams right now.
Yeah. I like that. I think fading Antonio Gibson is a great play. I'll pose this to you, Jordan. I am with Antonio Gibson being faded. I am big on JD McKissick because JD McKissick came in last week and led Washington's backfield in yards and is that dual threat back that for some reason they're not letting Antonio Gibson be. He is currently sitting on the waiver wire in my home league. I am in this debate in my head as to whether or not I drop Khalil Herbert because I don't have space on my bench for him in order to pick up JD McKissick because Herbert going up against the Buccaneers defense, I do not love this week.
I actually have Herbert as a sneaky play this week.
Ooh.
But at the same time, if Damian Williams comes back, then you kind of scratch all of that because I think they might go with Damian Williams. So if they drop him, then I would sub Herbert for McKissick, I suppose. It is weird that they let McKissick do a bunch of the stuff that
basically
they should just
all
be
the
having
stuff
Antonio Gibson do.
Antonio Gibson was a wide receiver in college. Like, it's not like he can't do this stuff. He can more than hold the wide receiver, a receiving back role in this offense. Just before we move on from this, Jordan pointed out, let's give Jalen Hurts and Tua 20 games. The Giants have given Daniel Jones 32 games. So if the Giants can be this patient with Daniel Jones, y'all can be patient with Tua and Jalen Hurts. All right, let's move on to the Falcons heading to Miami to take on the Dolphins. And I am broadcasting this take across every media platform I possibly can so that it happens. I'm speaking it into an existence. And that is, this is a Calvin Ridley top 5 wide receiver week. It is finally happening. Only Ridley, Cooper Kupp, and Deebo Samuel have seen 8+ targets this year in every single game they've played. Cooper Kupp is the wide receiver 1 in half-point PPR. Deebo Samuel is the wide receiver 7 in half-point PPR. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver 51. So the elite workload is there, and it just hasn't clicked. He is third in the NFL in team air yard percentage. They are trying to get him the ball. They are trying to get him involved. And the last 4 weeks, the Dolphins are giving up 982 yards to wide receivers, which of course is most in the league. They're also giving up the most fantasy points. So to me, this feels like a ripe matchup for Calvin Ridley to return to the top 5 elite fantasy wide receiver that everyone drafted him to be. I know you're going to start him no matter what. You don't need my approval to put him in your starting lineup, but you can do so. Put him in your starting lineup. Put him in your DFS lineups this week. Play him. He is going to return top 5 wide receiver value this week. I bet my life on it. There's a movie quote for you.
I really hope that it is a top 5 week for Calvin Ridley. I'm really glad he's back. I hope everything's going well in his personal life. He didn't miss time for injury. But to stay on theme and on brand, Calvin Ridley is my number 1 boy. Like, I really love him as a wide receiver and as a fantasy player. And the Dolphins are, let's just say they're another one of those teams that people missed on this year, I guess.
True.
It's tough to play football without an offensive line. So yeah, hopefully Calvin Ridley can eke out some top 5 production. That'd be great.
Also, fantasy managers out there, stop trying to make Myles Gaskin a thing. He hasn't had 5+ carries since week 3. And the only good game he did have was through the air. And the Falcons are allowing above average at limiting running backs pass catching out of the backfield. So don't go starting Myles Gaskin. He's not a thing. You're not Gretchen Wiener. You're not making fetch a thing. Let's move on. Jets heading to New England to take on the Patriots. My God, Jordan, if the Patriots lose this game, I don't know where I'm going to be. Probably in a sinkhole somewhere. So, we have to pick Washington Packers and Falcons Dolphins.
Yes, we do.
Now I remembered. I'm going to go with Packers over Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers.
In their gorgeous throwback jerseys, might I add.
I really want one of those. I want an Elton Jenkins throwback jersey.
Those things are absolutely beautiful. Pristine.
About time they get one too.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm going to go with the Falcons over the Dolphins because I think this whole, I love Tua, and I think that Tua is great, and I think Jalen Waddle is great, and I think that this offense is going to look so much better with Tua under center. However, I have to think all of these rumors are going to eventually get into Tua's head, and I'm sure it's not a great feeling to be a young quarterback and have all these rumors coming around that the team wants to trade you to another team and bring on a sex offender as their starting quarterback. But what do I know? So I'm picking Falcons.
Real-time update. According to Marcel Louis-Jacques, who's a Miami Dolphins reporter for ESPN, he said that somebody close to the situation has texted him that the rumors are false. So that might be just a lot of noise that does not precipitate into anything. I'm not sure what the Dolphins would be doing, making a QB change right now at 1-5, 1-4. They got one win, and then just throwing
1-5
Tua under the bus, and then bringing in a quarterback who, like, I don't know. If he could be playing right now, he probably would be, but they're
not.
Anyway, going Falcons because this is just a mess. Like
ATL sweep.
That's where I was going for it. It's a mess because Tua's confidence, and with all these rumors swirling around, it seems a little unfair.
I really hope Tua's career doesn't go the way of Josh Rosen. That would be a bummer. Not that, I mean, it's a bummer for Josh Rosen too. We've long supported Josh Rosen on this podcast. Doubly bummer for Tua because I love Tua. Okay, Jets at Patriots. What do you got?
So game of the week right here, or
elite of the elites, a 1-4 versus a 2-4. You love to see it.
I'm going to be playing Jameson Crowder this week. This is another instance of me just calling one of my guys and throwing him out there because Jamison Crowder has always been a pretty solid flex play wide receiver 2 for PPR formats. In the game they had a bye last week, but they played Atlanta before that. He trailed only Corey Davis in targets. He came right in and just became a target hog because that's how Jamison Crowder does it. He just knows how to get open. He has 9 targets and 6 targets since returning from injury, and his snap percentage has only been 61.5%. But I think like an extra week of rest could have help him get back to like 100%. I really think he was just playing because he was cleared to go and not necessarily 100% ready to go. New England has historically put some clamps on Jameson Crowder, but the Pats defense could be a little vulnerable right now. They're like 16th in pass DVOA, so you can pass on them at least a little bit. And my quote right now is from everybody's favorite little demented man, Roman Roy. It's all about the morsels, man. Feed me the fucking tasty morsels. Keep me interested. That is where we're headed. Tasty morsels from Groovy Hubs. That is to say, Jameson Crowder, just give me a little taste. Show me something.
Give me a little food.
It's you're not playing on a good team right now, but just give me a taste. That's all I need from you this week, because bye week hell is going to be our reality. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do more than just like casually throw on this Patriots secondary. Last 4 weeks, they've given up the 7 most targets, the fifth most yards, and the third most touchdowns to wide receivers. So you can get it done against this secondary. It is not the elite secondary that it once was. They have great moments and they have great players, but they certainly can be taken advantage of. And someone like Jamison Crowder, who, especially if the Patriots do some more, crazy rookie quarterback voodoo where they coax Zach Wilson into 4+ interceptions, Zach Wilson is going to be looking to do a little dump offs to his boy, Jamison Crowder, who's going to get 10+ targets, 8 catches for 50 yards. And in the bipocalypse, that is all you need. I was sweating in my boots when the Patriots were beating the Cowboys, because I was like, I picked against the Patriots, and I did not like that feeling, Jordan. So I will never pick against the Patriots ever again. Patriots are winning this game handedly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pats here too. They've owned the Jets since the Mark Sanchez era ended. So
yeah, man, Rex Ryan. The one thing Rex Ryan can hold his cap on, or whatever, can hold on to. All right, let's move on. Carolina Panthers heading to New York to take on the Giants. And I want to give a shout out to PFF's Ian Hartitz for this one. Start Robbie Anderson. I know Robbie Anderson hasn't done a whole lot for you fantasy managers out there this year, but since week 4, he has accounted for 24.7% of the Panthers' target share and 42.8% of their air yards. The Giants are 8th in the NFL. Oh, sorry, he is. My notes are not clear. Terrible job by me. Robbie Anderson is 8th in the NFL in air yards over the last 3 weeks, which puts him amongst the elites at wide receiver. They are trying to get the ball to him deep, and if those catches, those through passes connect, you're getting wide receiver 1 production right there. The Giants pass defense is ranked 31st in our NEF rating, giving up the 4th most receiving PPR points this season. Robbie Anderson, he's got to have a couple deep balls in him this week, and that's going to be good enough for a wide receiver 2 production.
Good note. I think Robbie Anderson will have a couple of deep balls in him
just
this week.
A couple real deep balls in Robbie Anderson.
So are you saying that it's a buy low on Robbie Anderson season? Because I really like him as a wide receiver. I think he's really talented. It's just the production hasn't been there this year.
I think you can. The one thing I will say is Robbie Anderson's target share has escalated with Christian McCaffrey out. So I think as soon as McCaffrey returns, Anderson's going to decrease. But McCaffrey got put on IR, so he's gone for at least the next 3 weeks. So I would definitely buy low on Robbie Anderson. Buy him before this game so that you don't have to then pay this increased price. Buy him, ride him for the 3. Making a lot of sexual references here. Use him for the 3 weeks that Christian McCaffrey is certainly out, and then when McCaffrey comes back, see if you can sell Robbie Anderson off of a few good performances. Just because I think that his target share in the Panthers offense, he will become a 3rd or 4th wheel again, as opposed to the number two guy behind DJ Moore once McCaffrey comes back. So that's my call there. Panthers, Giants. I will go with Carolina. Carolina's 3-3 now. No, but I'm not going to pick the Giants. The Giants are terrible. Panthers.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Panthers too. The Giants defense, you talked about it too. They're 31st in our NEF ranking, and they've just been, they should be good. Like, right. They were pretty decent last year.
James Bradbury was great.
Yeah, James Bradbury was like elite last year, but this year they don't have it.
No, they do not. That is for sure. All right, let's move on. Chiefs at Titans, which I have to say, Jordan, after what the Titans did to the Bills last night, and Derrick Henry just literally, I don't understand how Derrick Henry does the things that Derrick Henry does. He is a 250-pound man who somehow outruns cornerbacks. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, the Titans look frisky yet again, and so this could be a pretty good game.
Yeah, the Titans look frisky. We have two bad defenses playing in
Gotta
this
love
game.
that.
So I think it might come down to ball control and who might have the ball last. And the Titans are good at that. I almost, for my play here, I almost just put down Derrick Henry with no notes and just like, all right, let's move on. Absolutely play Derrick Henry because this could be like we might have to call the authorities after this game. My hidden pick is going to be though is Darrell Williams. And actually I'm going to play him pretty confidently. I didn't write down who I got this from too. I apologize for that. But since week 8 of 2020, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has 3 carries inside the 5, and Darrell Williams already has 2 last week and 1 more inside the 10-yard line. So Daryl Williams is getting those touches inside the goal line work that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was just not getting. And that was kind of capping CEH's fantasy relevance. He's good in between the 20s, but like you kind of need him to score, which also admittedly is pretty damn hard when you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce who are just like good at doing everything. And like,
especially the like Tyreek Hill or the Travis Kelce like shovel pass touchdown, which is just impossible to stop. And so that's just, why would I give it to a running back when Patrick Mahomes can just like take 5 steps to the right and just kind of throw it back over his shoulder to Travis Kelce for a touchdown.
Yeah. And like every good offense in the league is running some variation of that now too. So it's like, can't really blame him there, but still CEH is just not a goal line back for the Chiefs, and Daryl Williams can be. His 72% snap share last week already tied CEH's highest snap share percentage of the season. So it's, I don't know, you just got to kind of play him. If he's the better back, I might keep playing him even when CEH is healthy. So to quote Tom Lambsgans here, Greg, this is not a fucking Charles Dickens world, okay? You don't go around talking about principles. Man the fuck up. And that's kind of me talking to Andy Reid. Fuck the principles. If CEH was a first-round pick, who cares? If Darrell Williams is playing better, just keep playing him. Fuck the principles, Andy.
Fuck them. Yeah, Daryl Williams has like long been the Chiefs goal line back, and now the fact that they're also their starting back, he's like, oh, Daryl Williams, high-end wide receiver, high-end RB2 with RB1 upside. If only Clyde Edwards-Helaire could have had that, but he doesn't. So fantasy managers hope that Williams keeps the RB1 spot.
The Chiefs do this with running backs sometimes too, is they like, I don't know, like Damian Williams in the Super Bowl, who just kind of like wasn't really doing much. Nobody really knew who he was. And then he had a great Super Bowl game. And it's like, oh, they actually were able to utilize him effectively. So I don't know. I think maybe they just need to be a space removed from a first round running back draft pick, perhaps.
Derrick Henry is averaging 25.4 fantasy points per game. Number 2, the RB2 is Austin Eckler, who's averaging 16.6. That's ridiculous. Derrick Henry is averaging almost 10 more fantasy points per game than the second best running back.
I don't know how we get to this point every year where we're just
every year.
God, Derrick Henry's so good. And this year it's come earlier, I think.
Yeah. But like every year we do this. Every year it is my like fantasy resolution at the end of every year. And I should just fucking listen to myself. I'm like, I will draft Derrick Henry. I will draft Derrick Henry. I will draft Derrick Henry. And then every year I'm like, well, he had 5 million touches last year. There's no way he's going to be able to contain.
No Arthur Smith. Like, what's going on?
This Titans offense is going to be terrible. It's like, God damn it. And of course, the one year that I'm going to like actually draft Derrick Henry first overall or as my RB1, he'll fall off the proverbial cliff. Which he might not, because this man is an alien. He is a literal alien sent to Earth to just break everything that we have ever preconceived about what a running back can be. Pick this game, Jordan.
I don't know if I want to pick this game.
I know. I don't either.
It's a tough one.
It is. The Chiefs are 3-3. The Titans have a better record than the Chiefs. That's wild.
I'm gonna be okay. I pick the Chiefs every single week this week, so I think I can give myself a break and pick the Titans this time around. Which of course means the Chiefs will win, but I'm picking the Titans because I think Derrick Henry's just going to have a really impressive game, and I feel bad for anybody playing him in fantasy.
I saw someone meme the main guy from Squid Game and was just like, with a caption, your next game is to try to tackle Derrick Henry at full speed. And it's just like that would literally be death. You would die.
Yeah. Who were the Titans playing last week?
They played the
Buffalo, right?
Buffalo, yeah. He just roasted them. It's like the best defense in the NFL, and he just ran over them.
Yeah, and he was sprinting all over them. And I think at one point, was it Carlos? No, not Carlos Hyde. Micah Hyde. He had I think he had a clean shot on him, like bursting through the hole, already at the second level before anybody's moving. And I'm like, if I'm Micah Hyde, I'm probably making a business decision. I'm not trying to tackle him. And
no,
Micah Hyde barely got a hand on him. I think he kind of came to that resolution.
He was like, oh no, I missed him.
Oops. Oh.
Oh darn. 70-yard touchdown. Well, dang it, Jordan. Now my super hipster pick of the Titans upsetting the Chiefs. Well, it's not even an upset. I'm not going to look as cool with it. So I'll pick KC. They're on the road. But Patrick Mahomes and this offense got their juices back last week, and they're playing a Titans defense that their Titans secondary is god awful. So
that's true. They could outscore Tennessee so much that running the ball is just not an option.
I mean, Derrick Henry will still finish with like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, but Tyreek Hill might also finish with the same stat line. So
very fair. That's going to be a good game.
That will be a good game. And yet the NFL put it as their 1:00 game. Because the NFL just excellent schedule making. All right, let's move on to the afternoon games. And we have the Philadelphia Eagles heading to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. And my play for this is a nice, easy, simple one. Don't overthink it, people. You start Dallas Goddard in this game. The Eagles are targeting their tight ends 25.6% of the time, which is the 8th most in the league. No more Zach Ertz. He is in Arizona. Also, you should be starting Zach Ertz in Arizona. And the Raiders have been giving up 23.3 fantasy points per game over the last 4 weeks to tight ends, which is the league worst. So Goddard is still in COVID protocol right now. So that's something to monitor, but he is vaccinated. And so he should be available for this weekend. If he is not, then scratch everything that I am saying. But if he is available, you fire him up confidently as a tight end one this week.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like much of a no-brainer, especially based off of all the information and the stats that you just rattled off about tight end usage, about the Raiders and what they are giving up to tight ends. And the space is clear for Dallas Goddard to take over. He's been a good option even with Zach Ertz there, but now it's just like there's no other tight end on the roster that's going to be able to do what he does. So
yeah. I think I am going to go with Vegas in this game. They're still 4-2, no matter how many times I believe that they are going to eventually collapse. Still not doing bad. So I'm going to go with Raiders.
I picked against the Raiders, much to my own chagrin last week, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go with the Eagles just because. I don't know.
Yeah. There's never a reason not to do that. All right, let's move on. I mean, honestly, NFL, if we're talking about scheduling faux pas and mishaps, I understand that no one wants to watch the Lions in prime time, but you know what we do want to watch, Jordan? We do want to watch Matthew Stafford getting sweet, sweet revenge on a team that wasted 10 years of his life. Lions heading to LA to take on the Rams. What's your play in this game?
This is a great time for Dan Campbell to have also said that Jared Goff is trash.
He's trash.
Like he's just like teeing it up ready.
He's really just like playing into this. This is incredible. Yeah, just excellent timing, Dan Campbell. Really hyping up the drama here.
It's like, oh, we're gonna go visit my ex-girlfriend and her new family, but I'm gonna start a fight here with my new girlfriend before we go.
New girlfriend,
just in case that window is still open to get her back.
Yep.
So
A+ coaching.
Another kind of no-brainer this week is to bench the Lions wide receivers. I don't think there's any sneaky value this week, even if you're wondering like, well, the target's got to go to somewhere. If they go anywhere, it'll probably be to TJ Hawkinson, and like that's it. And even he has been shown that he can be slowed down to some degree when defenses start keying in on him. And the Rams D is also fourth in DVOA against the pass. Khalif Raymond, let's see here. Lions wide receiver. He only turned 7 targets into 6 catches for 37 yards last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown only converted 7 targets into 5 catches for 26 yards last week. So their top 2 guys, they didn't look great. They they barely put up 50 yards with 11 catches between the 2 of them. That's not good. Jared Goff, we just talked about this. Massive hit to the confidence this week. And
I talking about Tua's hit of confidence. Having your coach be like, you got to step up, kid, when you're 0-6. Yikes.
And this is a quarterback that we've already seen have a season, a rookie season before Sean McVay got there, and was just absolutely destroyed. Like his confidence then was already shot. If it wasn't for McVay, who helps, like he brought out the defibrillator and charged to 120 and hit Jared Goff with that defibrillator and brought him back to life. And now Dan Campbell's just like, I'm going to throw you off this building right now.
I'm going to pull the plug.
Yeah, I'm pulling the plug right now. It's not great. And my quote to summarize just the Lions' entire disarray comes from the patriarch of succession himself, Logan Roy. It was supposed to be choreographed. That was about as choreographed as a dog getting fucked on roller skates. The Lions rebuild looked good for a minute. Until it didn't.
Yeah, it
looked good. Now it's questionable.
Good for a hot minute. Yeah, I do think that this is a very good. You're talking about sitting the Lions wide receivers. This seems like a very good DeAndre Swift game. The Rams have given up the 3rd most receptions to running backs over the last 4 weeks, and I think like top and the 4th most receiving yards. So I feel like Jared Goff in his panic state could be dumping it down a lot to Swift, and maybe Jamal Williams. Maybe Jamal Williams gets back involved after posting some pretty poor performances. He is still the running back 25 in half-point PPR, despite the fact that he hasn't done anything since the first 3 weeks. If the Lions score a touchdown in this game, I think that's a huge win for them. The Rams are winning handedly. There's no way Matthew Stafford's letting the Lions win.
Yeah, I'm not shocking the world with any other pick than the Rams here.
All right, let's move on. Houston Texans to Cardinals, Arizona. My play for this game. He's been pretty good this year. He's been surprisingly consistent and playing at a high level, but I'm sitting AJ Green this game. While the Texans as a team absolutely are garbage, their secondary has been pretty low-key good this year. They've allowed the 5th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers, just 3 touchdowns on the year. And Green is likely to see a fair amount of Terrence Mitchell, who's the Texans boundary corner, who's allowing a 47.6 completion percentage this year. I just think with DeAndre Hopkins, with Christian Kirk, with Rondale Moore, with these other wide receivers, there's a lot of weapons there for Kyler Murray to go to. And the Texans secondary as a whole probably will kind of lower all of their ceilings. But I think particularly, I just think that it could be a week that AJ Green doesn't give up you the solid flex to wide receiver 2 value that he has throughout this year.
Yeah, I think DeAndre Hopkins, also JJ Watt, if you want to go there too. Revenge game against the Texans.
Game. My God, there's so many revenge games, like big ones.
Right. DeAndre Hopkins is going to want to show what he's got.
Yeah.
I think Kyler Murray is going to help him with that. And AJ Green, I'm going to choose to ignore some of the information that you've laid out because I have to play AJ Green in a dynasty league out of desperation. But at this point in his career, 33 years old, AJ Green's always a little bit of a tough play. I don't know. Hopefully he can return some value for people, me, who really need
it. Yeah, I think he'll see I think he'll still see his usual, 6 targets and we'll have his 4 catches, but maybe that goes for 40 yards and no touchdown, which, that's a stat line he's done a lot. He's just added that touchdown, and the Texans are good at limiting wide receiver touchdowns. And I think you're totally right, where when they get down to the red zone, I mean, you tell me Kyler Murray's not forcing it to DeAndre Hopkins so that he can score 3 touchdowns on his old team. Come on, that's 100% happening. Could the Texans pull off this upset and hand the Cardinals their first loss, Jordan?
Here's the thing. If I'm a gambling person, and I am, I'm still kind of staying away from this game. I'm not going to parlay it to anyone because despite all the revenge narratives here, I don't know if the rest of the Cardinals team is like, oh yeah, we have to take care of business and crush Houston. Everybody loses in the NFL at one point or another. Nobody goes undefeated. And they play the Packers next week. So
you'd rather
this might be a trap game. I'm saying.
Ooh.
They might be looking ahead, especially because they play the Packers on a short week. They play them next Thursday, which thank you.
That's going to be a game. Holy shit. That'll be a great game. Do it.
I'm just going to protect myself and go with the Cardinals.
When the Texans win, you're going to be so sad because you could have been the one person in this country, Jordan, the one person in the greater American area that would have picked the Texans to pull off the upset.
It's me and Shea Serrano. We're on our own.
JJ Watt is going to break Davis Mills this game. I just have a feeling. Watt's going for 4 sacks. All right, last afternoon game, we have the Chicago Bears heading to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. I already mentioned that I do not like Khalil Herbert in this game, but you said that he's a sneaky play, Jordan.
I do think he could be a sneaky flex, and this is all dependent on if Damian Williams comes back to play. I think he's still listed as out right now. Khalil Herbert could be sneaky. Chicago, despite their issues on the offensive line, whether that's protecting Justin Fields or Andy Dalton, they are low-key 9th in rush offense DVOA. And I just think Khalil Herbert looked like something last week.
He looks good.
He looked good, and he definitely earned himself some extra touches once David Montgomery, and even when Damian Williams comes back. He's not a guy that's going to get relegated back to the bench now that his work is done, I would say. He looked good last week against the Packers, and the Packers are not even close to as good as what Tampa Bay is against the run, but I think with Justin Fields back there now, the run action might help Herbert get some holes. It could freeze the safeties, the linebackers, make them second guess what they're about to do, especially since the secondary has been not very good for Tampa Bay. So maybe they scheme some things open as long as it's not Matt Nagy scheming those things. It could be a good play for Khalil Herbert, especially if you have nowhere else to turn to. And to quote Shiv Roy, this quote's about Matt Nagy all the way. If he can't ride 2 horses at once, he shouldn't be working at the circus. If Matt Nagy can't coach the team, if he can't be the offensive guru he's been dubbed to be, then he shouldn't be at the circus, which is the NFL. So maybe
you don't coach, Matt Nagy. If you're the offensive genius and you need to hand off play calling duties to Bill Lazor, and then Bill Lazor calls much
good
better much better plays than you, then yikes. I appreciate you, Jordan, giving me confidence in my dynasty team, and while I am just shitting on your dynasty team with AJ Green. So I appreciate you taking the high road and saying that Khalil Herbert, sneaky play. Miles Sanders was able to get some work kind of going in garbage time against the Bucks. So maybe that's what we hope for is Brady and the Bucks to just, put up 30 on the Bears in the first half, and then the whole defense just rests and Khalil Herbert runs for 100 yards. I'll take that.
Apparently garbage time is the only time the Eagles use Miles Sanders too, which is
the Eagles' usage of Miles Sanders is just utterly insane to me.
I saw some stats on Twitter, and I'm forgetting them now, but it was along the lines of like the Eagles just virtually do not use Miles Sanders in the first quarter, and like it ticks up a little bit in the second quarter, but it's not like until the end of games that they're finally using him. And it's like, why? You guys got a thoroughbred. You got to let him gallop.
Terrible play. Speaking of bad play calling, I'm confidently taking Tampa in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa. I don't.
Wow. Jordan almost picked the Bears to do anything positive. You thought about it. Sunday Night Football. Indianapolis Colts heading to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. And my play for this is I'm going to fade Elijah Mitchell. He's going to get a sizable workload with Jimmy G under center. He had 19 touches in week 2, however, and that only turned into 53 yards against the Eagles. So just because he's about to get a ton of work doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually going to be productive. The Colts have allowed the 5th fewest fantasy points to running backs. They're 7th best in NEF rating. They've allowed 1 total rushing touchdown this year. And that's not fluky because they've gone against the Seahawks, the Titans, and the Ravens, all of whom have ranked top 5 in rushing touchdowns this season in the NFL. So this is a legit run defense that's shutting people down. And I just think that Elijah Mitchell, despite the fact that he could be the RB1 or seemingly is the RB1 from a workload standpoint in this 49ers backfield when healthy, that doesn't necessarily translate to huge fantasy performances, especially against an elite defense like the Colts is at stopping the run. So,
yeah, in my research, I'm trying to find it right now, but I stumbled upon Elijah Mitchell's rushing DVOA, and he's still in the that's under receiving. Never mind. This is live. It was when I was looking at Khalil Herbert's information, and Mitchell is kind of he's hovering around like DJ Dallas, Samaje Perine in terms of DVOA. He's 1 spot above Kenyon Drake and 2 spots above David Johnson. He's
pretty average.
Not very effective, not very efficient, despite like he had that one good game and everybody blew their fab on him. And I'm like, actually, I wouldn't trust that much. I don't think he's producing against a very good defense here in the Colts. Like they can bottle some stuff up.
Yep. Who do you got winning this game?
I'm going to pick the Colts. I liked what I saw out of them last week, even though they lost.
I did too. I mean, the Colts they've looked good for 2 weeks now in a row. And Jonathan Taylor is getting rolling. But I also think the 49ers defense are at home. God, the Colts are 2-4. I want to pick the Niners, but I also think that the Colts will win. To be spicy, I'll go with the 49ers. Deebo Samuel is playing out of his mind. And I just talked about how their offense isn't going to be able to run the football, though. I'm going back with the Colts. I've changed my mind. Colts are winning. All right, let's wrap up Monday Night Football. New Orleans Saints heading to Seattle to take on Jordan, the Geno Smith-led Seattle Seahawks. Love it. You love it. This game, NFL, you're killing it with your schedule creations.
Yeah, I bet you in the beginning of the season, they did not anticipate a Geno Smith versus Jameis Winston QB duel. It should be kind of fun and like a demented, we watch every single snap of football kind of way.
The Geno Smith Seahawks are already coming off of a night game last week. They played Sunday night. Now they got to freaking play Monday night. Good Lord, NFL.
I saw somebody at the gym this week who was wearing a Geno Smith t-shirt, and it wasn't one of those like jersey tees with the numbers. It just said Geno on the front in like Jets font. And I was like, that's a champ move. I can't believe you're busting out the Geno shirt. Like, that's just confidence.
You've been
right
in
there.
it from the beginning, sir. Well done.
Dedicated. So for this game, I am benching Rashad Penny. I know there's a little bit of talk about him coming off of IR, and with Alex Collins getting a little dinged up and Chris Carson being dinged up, that Rashad Penny seems like he could be a viable option. But my only question on Rashad Penny right now is, when has he ever been good? Like, I don't know, just because he could be the starting running back, which we've actually seen before, doesn't mean that you should play him in fantasy. He's played 28 regular season games in 4 professional seasons, and he has never ranked higher than running back 58 in PPR during those seasons. Seattle also plays a strong run defense in New Orleans. New Orleans is either hovering around number 1 like the entire season, so they're still number 2 by run defense DVOA right now. And if I had Rashad Penny as a handcuff, I'm still just praying that Alex Collins is available or that Chris Carson comes back to play, because I do not want to have to resort to Rashad Penny getting snaps behind Geno Smith. Like, that's not ideal. And this is a quote from Kendall Roy. It's not really about Rashad Penny. It's more about the Pete Carroll era, I think, which may be coming to a close if they keep on
fingers crossed
playing bad. And the quote goes like this: "The dinosaur is just having one last roar at the meteor before it wipes him out." This could be one last roar out of Pete Carroll, and he could be going back to USC or something. I don't know.
That feels very fitting for Pete Carroll. That's a very fitting quote. Sounds good. Who do you have winning this game?
Should I take that Geno shirt as a sign?
Take it as a sign, Jordan.
Man, I feel like I haven't watched the Saints play in weeks.
In years.
I don't even know if they're good.
I have no idea.
I'm just gonna pick Seattle.
Do it. let the Geno man be a sign.
Geno shirt. If I see him again, which he'll have to be wearing the shirt again, but hopefully he's wearing it on Tuesday.
Geno man, go back to Jordan's gym on Tuesday with your Geno shirt on, so that Jordan can tell you that he either won or lost based on the shirt you wore. I'm going the Saints, because the Saints have Alvin Kamara, and that is a win in my book. So, all right, there you go. Those are that's all the games for week 7. And before we go, it is time to spin and play Wheel of Conditions. Wheel of Conditions. Wheel of Conditions. Wheel of Conditions. In which we spin the Wheel of Conditions and draft a DFS lineup to see whether or not we can actually make money under these constraints. We won our very first week, and since then have not made any money. But the quest to win $1 million and buy 1 million wheels lives on and will never die. And so with that, let me get this all set up, enter a new lineup. We are going to spin. And we can only pick players from the 1 p.m. games this week. So that is our condition.
Isn't that kind of what we always have to do?
It's basically just no afternoon games. It was, I want to know, the wheel wants us to win, Jordan. That's ultimately what it comes down to.
I guess that is 8 teams that we do not have an option for.
The wheel wants us to win. All right, so here we have the games up top too, so we can nicely look. Washington, Green Bay, Carolina, Giants, Chiefs, Titans, Falcons, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, Bengals, Ravens. That's who we have to work with.
I don't care how much it costs. I think we have to get Derrick Henry first and foremost.
Agreed. It's $11,000.
Jesus. Worth it.
Worth it. All right. Who do we want at quarterback? You didn't say this, but I also think that this is a smash week for your boy Aaron Rodgers. After telling the entire Bears fan base to suck it, he's going up against a Washington defense that can't stop a nosebleed.
Got to back it up, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, he literally told an entire fan base that he owned them, and I mean, you got to kind of come out and keep balling if you say that. Running backs. Who else do you like? Let's see.
We might have to split the difference with Henry here and go a little cheaper.
I go super cheap. Damian Harris, but he's kind of cheap, but I do like him against the Jets because the Jets are terrible. Darrell Williams gets the Titans.
Ooh.
You could do your sneaky Khalil Herbert. That would be a big savings. JD McKissick. I love that. I got to fill airtime. That seems like the cheapest I'd be willing to go. Maybe.
I would go with. Can you scroll down a little? Who did we just say?
We had Darrell Williams, or
we
could even go Mike Davis if we want to get saucy. Khalil Herbert.
I'd go Darrell Williams. I like getting a.
You talked him up. Let's do it.
Like backing up what I've been preaching here on the show.
Wide receiver. I literally said that you have to put Calvin Ridley in every single one of your DFS lineups. So I'm going to put Calvin Ridley in our DFS lineup. Who else do we? Should
we hedge and put Cordell Patterson in there too?
As well. Cordell Patterson, $600 more than Calvin Ridley. That
might be a little too saucy. We might have to sub him out.
We'll see if we can make a lineup. Let's go now. Super cheap at wide receiver. Jamison Crowder, Jalen Waddle. Oh, I do love Jalen Waddle.
I like Jalen Waddle too.
Jalen Waddle at under 6,000. That is, yes, please. Tight end. Dallas Goddard is on IR, but if he doesn't play, then we're out of a tight end spot. But I do like Dallas Goddard. Hunter Henry's been scoring touchdowns like a madman.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Hunter Henry? He's been playing well. Or
Zachy Ertz.
Is the juice loose with OJ Howard?
Chicago's actually pretty good against tight ends. I looked into this. They're allowed, I think, the fifth fewest fantasy points. According to FanDuel, they've allowed the second fewest fantasy points to tight ends. So I could do some Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, 3 straight touchdowns.
I'm good with Hunter Henry. It seems like I haven't watched him that closely, but it seems like with that touchdown streak that Mac might like him in the red zone. He is definitely the favorite in that area. Not our boy Jacoby Myers, who had a touchdown, Jordan, ripped from his grasp due to a stupid holding call. God, I hate penalties. All right, what defense in the mornings? I'm saving it to see how much we have in our flex. Let's go super cheap at defense. What's the absolute cheap? Bengals against Baltimore? No, thank you. Giants against Carolina? That could not be bad. Carolina could frick up. What about Eagles? Oh, that's a 4:00 game. Damn it. Falcons at Miami? Are we just stacking the Falcons offense? Yeah, just betting big on them and hoping Jalen Waddle still eats into our.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good.
What about shoot? This is where it's getting hard, huh?
I know. 7-5.
How high up is New England's defense? I know we just talked about them being middling, but
I mean, it is against the Jets. If we did we'd only have 2,700 to work with for our flex spot. So maybe we'd have to move on from Cordell Patterson, which of course means that Cordell Patterson is going to go for a monster game.
Oh, I've already made my peace with moving on from Cordell Patterson.
All right, so let's go with the Patriots defense then. And then let's figure out another wide receiver in our flex. Sterling Shepard just catches everything that is thrown his way. I don't hate that. Do we want to go cheap with Jameson too, and then see what we can do in our flex? Or our boy Henry Ruggs or Jacoby?
Dude, Henry Ruggs is like
Henry Ruggs
number 4 wide receiver by DVOA right now.
Should we start? Should we play him?
Why not?
I feel like we should because he's looked very good. All right, now what's our flex?
I'm down to play him and Marquise Brown. Just 2 wide receivers I'd given up on entirely, and then way too early.
Way too early. Oh wow, how do we still only have 5,000? All right, well, we're going bottom of the barrel. David Johnson, baby. Oh, we can't play him. N'Keal Henry. Josh Gordon gets a touchdown.
Wait, did I just see Rashad Bateman's name?
Rashad Bateman. No, but ooh. What was Rashad Bateman's price? Maybe we dump Henry Ruggs for Rashad Bateman.
Nah, don't dump Henry.
Well, we got to make up some money somewhere. Where is Rashad Bateman?
There's always extra money.
There he is.
Banana stand.
There's always extra money in a banana stand. We have to get rid of $300. Who do we give up on? Let's replace. I do like Hunter Henry, but let's replace him with. Can I replace him with Zach Ertz? I mean, I can in the lineup wise.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz going up against a Houston Texans defense that gives up touchdowns like a mofo. We'll see. All right. We liking it?
Yep.
Oh, no. We can't do Zach Ertz because he's Sunday at 4:25. Damn it. Poop on a stick.
This was much harder than I was anticipating. Wait.
Anthony Berkshire. Or if we go Hunter Henry again, then who would we I have such a hard time saying no to Waddle and Henry Ruggs. We could find a cheaper.
Mark Andrews must be pretty buy low right now, huh?
Mark Andrews. 7,500.
We can't get Pipsy, huh?
No, we can't get anything. Ricky Seals-Jones is our. I mean, Ricky has been playing well, but he is currently injured, so that's not great.
Then he might not play.
Right, which would mean we are out of it. Jonnu Smith, maybe we hope for Jonnu Smith to score a touchdown. He did it once. He can do it again.
He got that touchdown that one time.
He did the scoring thing one time.
Shoot.
Okay.
We might have to put shoot, I'm already blanking on who we had over there before, and then go a little bit cheaper at a different position.
All right, so let's go back to Hunter Henry.
We might have to go cheaper than Darrell Williams.
All right, what's cheaper than Daryl Williams? $300. That's all we need. 6'4". Mike Davis, really just stacking the Falcons offense. We could risk it for the biscuit with Khalil Herbert.
Oh wait, no, Chase Edmonds is in the afternoon. Damn it. All right, yeah, let's just go with
JD. I like JD McKissick. I'm telling you, man. Because
all right, I'm good with JD McKissick.
All right, JD McKissick, don't let us down. There we go. Here's our lineup. After the 1:00 games, we have Aaron Rodgers, Derrick Henry, JD McKissick, Calvin Ridley, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Hunter Henry, Rashad Bateman, and the New England Patriots defense. This is really just a list of Pete and Jordan's guys, but I love it.
It really is.
I'm here for it. We submit. And let's see if this lineup is could this be the $1 million lineup? It could be, people. But that is all we got for you this week. Please rate and subscribe to the podcast on your podcast platform of choice. Drop us 5 stars. Really helps us, makes a difference for us getting in front of people. And follow us on Twitter at NerdBallFF. You can follow myself at Peter M. Rogers. Follow Jordan at Jordan_Smith27. And of course, make sure you check out all the amazing content we're putting out over on the site, NerdBallFF.com. Until next week, my fellow nerds.